Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'll talk about 5 tips for shopping at Hermes. It won't be the same tips that you've heard: shop at the same store, deal with the same sales associate. I think everyone is fully aware and we're all in agreement that those are the things to do. I also won't be talking about what categories of things to buy in order to be offered quota bags for 2 reasons. The first is, I know that on YouTube there's lots of talk about those categories that improve your chances of being offered a quota bag: homeware, fine jewelry. I have no evidence that this is true, but I'm a very analytic thinker, and although I understand that these may be high commission categories for the sales associate, ultimately so much is left up to the store manager, and to me it makes more sense that those categories are more store dependent. And by that I mean there are certain stores, especially right now, where homeware and the lower end of fine jewelry just sells itself. So I'm not talking about silver, but I'm talking about solid gold in the $2,000 to $5,000 range. Because of shortages right now, a lot of stores can't keep those items in stock. The same is true with homeware. Certain stores are just completely sold out. So if I were a store manager, I wouldn't particularly care about people buying Avalon blankets and sushi trays and CDC rings. And I'm not knocking any of these items. I have a couple of those things that perhaps were harder to sell 3-4 years ago, but that's just not the case right now. I'd be much more interested in people buying those lesser known bags, watches, ready to wear, and those grossly overpriced wallets. Perhaps at some boutiques, homeware and fine jewelry are really hard to sell, and at others, they just sell themselves. But again, I have no evidence that that's true, but you guys know me and my theories. So I'm not even going to pretend to know what categories to buy from. But the even bigger reason why I won't talk about what to buy in order to get a quota bag is that, as many of you know, I haven't bought many things from my SA other than bags, even though there are many things that I love from the brand. And I think once I've gotten most of the bags that I want, there are so many other things that Hermes makes that I really want to buy. But on principle alone, I would not buy those things in order to be offered a bag. So for me, it is the bags first and then those other things after. So although I have no issues with people exploring and buying from different categories with the eventual hope of being offered a quota bag, I wouldn't be able to encourage or give advice about something that I'm not willing to do myself. But these tips will be more about navigating your relationship with your sales associate and, by proxy, the brand. And that's something that I do think I know a lot about. Hermes's objective, like any other company, is to make money, but it's also a company about relationships. If you've watched any of my other Hermes videos dating back years, you'll know that I've always said that I think that a good working relationship with a sales associate is more important than spending history. And you guys may know that I have a good relationship with my sales associate. This video was prompted by a comment that I got on my last Hermes conspiracy theories video. In that video, I talked about my completely unsubstantiated theories and how we as the consumers navigate the brand. I got a comment on that video basically saying, if you wanted to talk about Purse on Fleek's video, why didn't you just come right out and say it? So I think essentially that person took note of a few of my theories about Hermes that they felt was linked directly to Mel's experience and assumed that I was talking about Mel. I think that after they wrote the comment, they probably went back and checked the dates and realized that my video was uploaded long before Mel made that video about her experience with Hermes, and I guess they realized that I was in no way talking about Mel, so they went back and deleted the comment, but they should have left it up because I actually took it as a compliment. I felt that essentially what the person was saying, that my theories were so on point that they spoke directly to someone's real life experience. So that video wasn't about Purse on Fleek, and neither is this one, but that comment about her, along with my own experiences shopping with the brand, did inspire the tips that I'll talk about in this video. There were a couple of theories in that video that I could see exactly why that person thought that I was referring to Mel. And that leads me to my first tip. In my Hermes conspiracy theories video, I made reference to Hermes sales associates being fully aware of social media, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and they are extremely aware of what their clients are saying on those those platforms. I won't go into details, but there have been clients at my boutique that have had some conflict because of what they said about the brand on social media. So I can clearly see why this person thought I was talking about Mel, because I do think that her presence on social media played a role in her eventual troubles at Hermès, culminating in the fact that she was blocked by the manager of the boutique on Instagram. So that is my first point. If you have a public social media presence, just be mindful regarding what you say about your essay and the brand. There are plenty of people that have complained or taken issue with the brand and still have successfully gotten bags. There are even people that are professional resellers that have a very public social media presence, and they are able to buy bags for their personal collections with Hermès. So I'm not saying it's impossible to talk about the brand or to have resold bags. All I'm saying is that if these are things that you plan to engage in, you want to be aware that there may be consequences for that. My next few points are about relationships with essays. Let's start at the beginning. I think it is really important to be able to read the room and read the room quickly. And by that, I mean, if you're assigned an essay, you buy one or two things, try to get a sense pretty quickly whether or not you and your essay have a good working relationship. My first time shopping at Hermès, I met an essay, I bought a click-clack. We in no way vibed. I didn't go back to the store for a good 6 months when I met the essay that I have now, and we clicked. So upon that first experience with that initial essay, I read the room pretty quickly. So when I went back to the store, I didn't ask for her. I just moved on immediately to a new essay. And at this time, I wasn't interested in Hermès bags. I didn't become interested in the bags until years later. So that's not why I was seeking out a new essay. I was seeking out a new essay because I want a wonderful sales experience. Whether I'm buying a $600 click-clack or a $6,000 handbag, I want to have a really good experience. So especially if you're interested in the quota bags from the very beginning, you don't want to keep buying items from an essay that you don't click with, because the longer you stay with that essay, the harder and more awkward it will be to switch to a different essay at the same boutique. So read the room, read it quickly, and switch essays as soon as possible if you're not feeling the vibe. And to that end, my third point is an indicator that the vibe isn't there. If you're at a boutique where all the essays have work cell phones and you don't have your essay cell phone number, that may be an indicator that something is off with your working relationship. Even if you think that things are going well, it may not be going as well as you think they're going. I don't know about other countries, but in the US, most essays have a company cell phone. Now, I didn't have my essay's phone number for the longest while, and that's because I wasn't interested in bags, and I told her that. So I didn't really need to communicate with her on any sort of an urgent basis, but the moment that I expressed interest in bags, she gave me her cell phone number, because if a bag that I wanted came in, she needed to be able to get a hold of me that same day and have me come down there sooner rather than later. And without going into much detail, I know at my boutique there are customers that don't have their essay cell numbers for various reasons. I'm not suggesting that is 100% indicator of what your relationship is like with your essay, but it's something to think about. If you're unsure whether or not essays have company cell phones at your boutique, I'm not on any of those Facebook groups, but I hear they are a wealth of information. So that's a really good way of perhaps figuring out. My fourth tip is also about communication. Whether or not you're communicating with your essay via phone, text, or email, is to keep communication succinct. Now, my essay and I are extremely chatty in person. We talk and we laugh and we have a good old time in the store, but we do not have long email or text communication. We never have. I'm also very aware that I am communicating to her via a corporate email address and a corporate cell phone. So none of these messages are private, and so I keep my messaging very short and sweet. Given how friendly we are in person, if you looked just at our text alone, it might come across almost as if we're strangers because the tone is pretty formal. And I think my essay appreciates that. I also don't tend to send just chit chat, how you doing type messages, because I'm aware that I am probably one of 100 clients that that my SA has. And if even only a quarter of us are sending her messages like that, that's still a lot of messages. And again, this is her work phone, so she'll have to sift through all of these cutesy chit-chat messages to get to clients that are immediately trying to purchase things, or messages from her coworkers or superiors. So I know a lot of people think that is a really important part of maintaining the relationship, but I try to keep that kind of communication to a minimum. Not to mention that that is not my personality style anyway. So personally, I think my SA would find that kind of communication from me somewhat random, disingenuous, and a little try-hard. If you are the type of person that tends to send messages like that to your SA, I would say just pay attention to whether or not it's taking your SA a long time to respond. And if they do, are they being sort of funny and friendly in response, or are they responding more shortly and tersely? And an even bigger indicator, of course, is if they're not responding at all to those types of messages, which I would think would be a clear sign that that type of communication is not really helpful at all. I may be a little bit biased here since I don't really window shop or browse in stores for fun. When we get back to a time when we can just go into all of these stores and just browse, but I think a very similar idea is that I wouldn't necessarily contact my SA if browsing is all that I really wanted to do. I would definitely say hi to her and chit chat for a little while when I see her in the store, but I would be very mindful about taking up a lot of her time, because if she's just walking around the store with me for 30 minutes, even if she doesn't have another client coming in, she still wouldn't be making money from walk-in customers. I think clients might think that just dropping by the store and chatting up your SA is part of building rapport, but I think when that's done repeatedly, all SAs, not just Hermes SAs, can get a little frustrated with customers like that because they unknowingly become time wasters. And that leads me nicely into my last point. Try to figure out your particular SA's nuances and preferences, and perhaps follow their lead. For example, my SA has a very good memory. She has never had me fill out or submit a formal wish list. She would probably be quite insulted if I kept texting her and reminding her about what I want. Once I tell her what I want, that's pretty much it. If something comes in, she will let me know. I don't have to keep reminding her what I want, whereas there may be other SAs that need that reminder. Maybe they forget, maybe they have a lot of stuff going on. When you make a request, are they saying, okay, great, I got it, if you won't mind checking in with me in 2 weeks? Or are they saying, okay, I got it, no need to check in with me, I'll let you know when something comes in? Then you should take that lead. And if you're not sure, you can always ask, would it be helpful if I checked in with you or reminded you periodically, or do you think that's not necessary? So if you're still unsure, perhaps one indicator is to think about how your SA responds to your request for easier to source or readily available items. Do they remember your request and are they quick to respond, or do they need a lot of reminders for even those things? So I don't think there is necessarily a one-size-fit-all rule for every SA. Some SAs appreciate the reminders, and other SAs would find repeated reminders annoying and somewhat patronizing. So try to keep in mind your SA's personality and try to follow their lead. So lastly, I just wanted to say that although I was prompted to do this video by that comment I received, I wanted to take this opportunity to give us all a bit of a public service reminder that this is just shopping, and in the grand scheme of things, it's not that serious. As many of you know, I only go luxury shopping a few times a year, and I expect those experiences to be fun, exciting, but still relaxing, pampering, and luxurious. I stopped shopping at my former Chanel boutique because that became stressful, and I would not hesitate to stop shopping with Hermes if shopping that brand became stressful as well. SAs are just people that work at stores. They serve the public and they're constantly interacting with people. So of course they are very aware when we as customers are stressed. And although they are trained to interact with customers, they're humans. So that probably makes them stressed themselves. And that's just not very fun to be around. And lastly, one final reminder. A lot of us were initially attracted to the YouTube luxury community because this was a judgment-free zone where we could all share our appreciation for luxury. While it's absolutely human nature to have thoughts, opinions, and judgments. It is completely volitional if and how we choose to share those ideas. I've noticed lately that there seems to be a lot of judgment around other people's choices. So personally, I'm not willing to participate in any kind of pre-spending in order to be offered quota bags. So I can't in good conscience give you guys advice about how to do something that I've never done myself. However, I wouldn't criticize someone else for deciding to do the pre-spending in order to get the bag of their dreams. And I sense a shift in the luxury community turning into a much more judgmental space. So people that love Louis Vuitton are baffled by people who would spend almost $8,000 on a Chanel flap. And people who exclusively buy Chanel can't conceive of why anyone would play this quote-unquote Hermès game. And people who only bought one Birkin or Kelly that they either bought pre-owned or they just got lucky in store criticize people who consistently shop with the brand to collect multiple bags. So it's really sad that we seem to be judging each other as a YouTube community, because the truth is, for people who don't appreciate luxury, buying any of these things in any fashion is completely ridiculous. So I just want to remind us all to be kind and tolerant of other people's decisions, even if it would not be your own. So tell me what you think about my tips for shopping at Hermès and navigating the relationship with the SA. Let's chat more in the comments. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel. That would make my day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.